Have you ever heard of a startup that found a legal cheat code to a system that's designed to make them fail? Well, that's exactly what we're talking about today. We're going to break down the story of BroCode and how they pulled off one of the most brilliant business hacks I've ever seen. Let's get into it.
First, just look at this number, 330 crore rupees. That's what BroCode managed to build in just 7 years. I mean, in a market where most new brands just disappear, that is an absolutely insane figure. So the question is, how on earth did they do it?
And yeah, that really is the heart of the mystery here. How does a brand new company with no name recognition build an empire in a market that's got crushing taxes, giant competitors, and all these crazy regulations? Well, the answer is just pure, unfiltered genius.
So to really appreciate what they did, you first have to understand the battlefield. The Indian alcohol market, it's not just tough, it's basically a fortress. It's built from the ground up to keep new players out. Let me show you what I mean. Think of it like trying to break through 4 massive walls. First, you've got taxes that can be up to 80% of the price. It's insane. Second, you have to fight giants like Kingfisher and Budweiser who own all the shelf space. Third, and this is a big one, you are banned from advertising. Totally banned. And fourth, even if you get a little bit of success, trying to expand to the next state is a bureaucratic nightmare. It's literally a graveyard for new brands.
So how in the world did BroCode find a crack in this fortress? Well, it all started by understanding a secret about the Indian customer that most people, even the big guys, were kind of ignoring. It's this one principle that drives everything.
Okay, check this out. Around the world, people drink way more beer than hard liquor or spirits. But in India, it's completely flipped on its head. The average person drinks more spirits than beer. Now, that's not just a fun fact. That is a massive clue.
And that clue leads us to this key idea, value per buzz. It sounds kind of funny, but it's a dead serious concept. It means the average Indian consumer is super rational. They're trying to get the maximum effect, the biggest buzz, for every single rupee they spend. It is all about economic efficiency. Let's just run the numbers real quick. Imagine you walk into a store with 150 rupees. You could buy a mild beer, get a low buzz. You could buy a strong beer, get a medium buzz. Or, for the same money, you could buy a small bottle of vodka and get almost double the pure alcohol of the strong beer. I mean, if you're focused on value per buzz, the choice is a no-brainer, and that's why strong drinks dominate.
But here's where the founder, Samir, had his second light bulb moment. He knew people wanted strong drinks, but he noticed something else. They were always mixing their whiskey with Coke or their vodka with Sprite. It meant they didn't really love the bitter taste. What they secretly wanted was a strong drink that was also sweet.
Okay, so this is where it all starts coming together. They have these two massive insights. People want a high buzz, and they secretly prefer a sweet taste. So what do you create? You can't just make another vodka. They needed to disguise it.
And this raises a really obvious question, right? If the winning formula is strong and sweet, well, shouldn't wine be the most popular drink in the country? It fits the description perfectly. But it's not. Not even close. So what's going on?
Well, the problem wasn't the product, it was the vibe. Wine has this image of being fancy, sophisticated. You need a corkscrew, you need special glasses. It's not something you just grab and drink with your buddies. And on top of that, it had this stereotype of being a women's drink, which was a massive turnoff for a huge chunk of the market.
And right there, that's the genius of BroCode. They decided to create a product that had the high alcohol, sweet kick of a wine, but they put it in a package that had the casual, easygoing vibe of a beer. It was the absolute best of both worlds.
Okay, but even with the perfect product, they still had to solve that first biggest problem, those killer taxes. To compete on value per buzz, they had to be affordable. And this is the moment where they went from a clever startup to absolute legends. They didn't just deal with the system, they hacked it.
So you have to understand this one, kind of weird rule about India's tax system. The amount of tax you pay on an alcoholic drink is not based on how strong it is. Nope, it's based on what category the government decides it belongs to. Is it a beer? Is it a wine? Is it a spirit? That one little detail changes absolutely everything.
Which brings us to the $1 million, or rather the 330 crore question. BroCode is sold in a beer bottle. It's in the beer fridge, but its ingredients are actually closer to wine. So how is it taxed? Is it a beer or is it a wine? The answer is the key to their entire empire. And here it is.
Just look at these numbers from Maharashtra. A regular strong beer gets hit with a mind-blowing excise duty. But BroCode? By getting legally classified as a carbonated wine, they pay a tiny flat rate duty. The result? The total tax on beer is almost 300% of its cost. For BroCode, it's about 85%. That's not just an advantage, that's a nuclear weapon in a price war. And that one move, that one brilliant piece of paperwork, it created the perfect situation. Customers got exactly what they wanted, a massive value per buzz for their money. And BroCode got the huge profit margins they needed to grow, to compete, and to win. Just absolutely beautiful.
So what can the rest of us learn from this incredible story? Well, beyond being just a cool case study, BroCode's journey gives us 3 really powerful lessons about business, about strategy, and about how to look at the world.
Okay, lesson 1. Find the gap that exists between the big obvious categories. Everyone else was fighting in the beer box or the spirits box. BroCode created a whole new box in the middle. Lesson 2. Your biggest problem might actually be your solution in disguise. They saw the tax code not as a wall, but as a roadmap to victory. And lesson 3, never ever underestimate packaging. That simple beer bottle told the customer everything they needed to know without a single word of advertising.
And really, this quote just says it all perfectly. Technically, on paper, BroCode is a fruit wine. But to the customer, it's a strong, refreshing, easy-to-drink beer-like thing. And in business, that perception is the only reality that matters. So I'll leave you with this thought. The BroCode story proves that even in the oldest, most regulated industries, there are loopholes, there are weird rules, there are opportunities just sitting there. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other industry is just waiting for someone clever enough to come along and completely rewrite the game?